Thank you everyone for joining us for this webinar, Touring Large-Scale Productions, Challenges, Preparations, and Solutions, presented by Dr. Dinesh Yadav. My name is Laura Lawrence, and I'm the Global Marketing Director at Harman. Just a few things before we get started. Everyone on the call is muted to keep down noise levels during the webinar. However, there is a Q&A function where you can submit questions to the presenter, and he'll try to answer as many questions as possible at the end. This webinar is being recorded, and the link will be made available a few days after this presentation. We do have a number of other webinars taking place over the next few months for audio, lighting, video, and control, and we'd like to encourage you to take a look at the different webinars in our Learning Sessions Workshop series on pro.harman.com. We're adding new sessions daily, and we have over 20 sessions scheduled for August and September, so watch for those on the calendar. And now I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Dinesh Yadav, the presenter for today's webinar. Dinesh is an assistant professor of lighting design and technical director of theater and dance at the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. He also serves as chair of the OISTAT Lighting Design Subcommission and artistic director of India's Swayambhu Foundation, which he co-founded. And now I'll pass it over to you, Dinesh.
Thank you, Laura. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. As Laura introduced me, my name is Dinesh, and rest is you heard. My background is from India. I studied and practiced in India. I studied at National School of Drama, New Delhi, and then thereafter in London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts, Lambda. So this is what my education background is. And then I came back from Lambda in 2010 after a year at Lambda. And I become part of India's biggest in this sense, largest and most extensively traveled company, the Can and Able company, which is led by theater director Royston Able. So this webinar is kind of an extract of my experiences, which I gathered through or which I experienced when I was traveling with this company. I had a good fortune of traveling with this company for about 26 countries from 2010 to 2018 before I came to United States. So I will be talking from the perspective of this company and the shows where I traveled with the shows I traveled with. So when I'm talking about these large scale productions and challenges, remember this is my own experience of when I was traveling and when I was basically confronting those challenges and solving those in the places where the challenges came. So the part of is my study, part of is my experience. Now, let me give you a little bit of background from where I'm coming. The very first show of the Can and Able Theatre was Manganiyar Seduction. The show was opened in 2007 as part of the opening show of Ocean Film Festival in New Delhi in 2007. I joined this show in 2010, and the show is still running. This show has been part into who's who of the festivals around the globe, including Barbican Center, Kennedy Center, Lincoln Center, Melbourne Art Festival, Sydney Art Festival, WOMED Festival, Lyon Festival, Holland Art Festival, Abu Dhabi Festivals, Oman Festival. I can't remember on the tip of my tip, but I had my 3 passport filled with visa stickers. So this is this show, the first show. The show was The Kitchen, which involved 12 Mirab players from Kerala. And we opened this show in 2012, if I remember correctly, in India. And then this was a co-production of Sydney Festival and Holland Festival. So we traveled with this show for about 13 countries, and then the show was closed. And the third show of the same year, we opened with the Manganiyar classroom with the children of Manganiyar music community, which is a music community from the western desert part of India, Rajasthan, western Rajasthan, close to India and Pakistan border. So this is my show background when I'm talking about these large productions. Manganiyar Seduction has a team of 50 people in total, including 38 artists and 12 company members. Kitchen has a team member of 25 team member, 12 musicians, and the rest of the technical team. And Mangania Classroom has a team of 32, if I remember correctly, on top of my head, with 26 children and rest of the team. So this is what the background is of the three shows. Now, let me talk to you about the diversity. And when I'm talking about the diversity, is not only about the, the cultural diversity, but about the other aspect of the diversity. And as we are going through with a very strange time in our today's world, especially United States, when it comes to racial diversity and racial justice, I want to take a little bit of time just to mention that what we practice in this company, or what I was part of the company, which will give you a background of, as a stage manager or technical director, when you are traveling, and what are the challenge or what are the beautiful things when it comes to diversity. So the very first was our religious diversity. We had in our complete team member in all these shows, we had Muslims from western part of the Rajasthan, Manganiyars and Langas. We have Tamil Brahmins from Kerala. We have Christian in our company. We have Hindus in our community. And within Hindus, we have people coming from different caste, upper caste, lower caste, and sort of scheduled tribe, and so on. And then we have Nath, Jogis, which don't consider themselves as Hindu, or neither Muslim, but kind of a different in between an identity. So this is the religious background of our company. Language, when it comes to, our Manganiyar speaks their own vernacular language, which is Marwadi. Then we have people speaking Hindi, and then we have people speaking Malayalam and Telugu and English. So this is what the language background. And when I'm saying that they speak that language, that means sometimes they even don't know the other language at all. So for instance, Manganiyar kids, and within the Manganiyar seduction show, there were many artists who does not speak Hindi or English or any other language. They speak Marwadi. So I was communicating with those people. And similarly with our kitchen, we have artists who might not speak Hindi or English, or they just only speak Malayalam. So this is what the language background I'm talking about. Age, we have youngest artist in Manganiyar Classroom of about 7 years, and we have oldest artist in Manganiyar Seduction, which was about 82 years of age. So this was the range of age I was working with. And when I'm saying this age will play significant role when you are booking flight tickets, when you are booking hotel rooms, when you are booking travels, when you are booking accommodation. So this is why it's important to mention these things. Demographic, when it comes to Indian demography, you know that India is, I think, 7th largest country in the world. We have artists coming from New Delhi, urban background. Then we have artists coming from western part of Rajasthan, Sahara, coming from really small village of about 25 to 30 houses. We have artists coming from Kerala, down south. We have artists coming from up north. So this is a range of persons who live in very cold weather, who lives in very humid weather, very warm weather in general in their life. And that's also important to consider when you are making a company of as big as this one. Food habits, we have strictly vegetarian. Within vegetarian, we have people who don't take milk, or who don't eat, let's say, egg, or who don't eat garlic and onion. We have people who within the non-vegetarian who will eat only chicken, or will not eat chicken at all, and will eat either fish or rabbit. So and then we have artists who can eat anything. So this was our food habit of the company. Venues, we were performing from makeshift venues of open air, performing in ballrooms of big hotels, and performing in venues uh, on hilltops like Lyon. We were performing in all these, ancient uh, open air theater, and then we were performing like extra sort of extravagant venues like uh, Lincoln Center or Kennedy Center, or Barbican or Settlers. So so these are the venues, the range of the venues when it comes to. We were performing uh, in parks, in WOMED festivals, and that plays role when you are traveling with a 4 ton of weight with your set. And then countries, we were performing from New Zealand to Australia to India, to Hong Kong, to Middle East like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Oman, to Europe, America. So this was the range of countries where we were performing. So this is the diversity background where I'm coming from. Now let's jump to the actual content on the base of this diversity. This scheme of presentation involves three parts, as we do in our theater: our pre-production part, our production part, and our post-production part. When it comes to large scale productions, and when you are hoping to travel with them, what the checkpoints you need to consider when you are going through these pre-production, production, and post-production schedule in your production. In pre-production, what you need as a traveling company: first thing, from the host who is inviting you, what you need from them: officials, technicals, personnels, regulations. These, and I will discuss those in detail in the next slide, but just in total, I'm kind of assembling them together. And then what your company needs, you as a performing company, your team, who is your team, the list, visas, and the technical details. Now comes the production. So on the pre-production, what you need from the host who is inviting you, and what you need as a company who is traveling. When the production start, when up here I mean the production means when you start traveling. What you need just before the travel, during the tour, when you are in flight or when you are in road transport or ship transport, in the hotel, at the venue, and the performance. So we will talk in detail about all these junctures, kind of crossroads when you are in the production. And then the last is a strike, when you are bumping out or striking your show. And then the second part, the last part of this presentation will be post-production, in which we will discuss a little bit, like in brief, what you need when you are checking out, when it's come to traveling back, duty free, something very important when the artists are coming. It's like being a happy-go-lucky people, and the payments. So these are the scheme of the presentation when I will be talking in this presentation. So let's jump on to the pre-production from the host. And the last one is thank you letters in our post-production, as a stage manager or as a technical director, what you need to send. From the host, officials, what you need when you start as a traveling company. Second, the technical, what you need as a company in terms of technical details. And then the regulations. These are the things you need from host: some official paper, some technical detail, and some regulations. There can be many, but I will just touch brief on those. Official, you need invitation. First and foremost, invitation initially it can be informal language, but final invitation you need on official companies letterhead, with their sign, with their phone number and their addresses. So this is important. This is important in terms of when you go to apply for visa, when you go to apply for fundings, the agencies want to see the legitimacy of the companies who is inviting you. So if the company is hush-fuss, they will probably not give you funding or probably deny your visa. But if the company is reputed and recognizable, if not reputed, a legitimate company. So you need invitation on that uh, official letterhead. And it's better that you always get a printed mailed copy, because there are many visa countries which may not use email as printouts. So that's one thing. Second thing, you need schedule. As soon the invitation comes that, oh, we want to invite you in our festivals or at our venue, you want to check their schedule. What is their schedule? Can you travel in that time? Can you fly in that time? Can you set up in that time? Travel schedule is also important when you are traveling with large shows like as large as Manganyar Seduction or maybe larger than that, because you need time to set up. Remember, you need time to travel. You need time from traveling in between your traveling and your setup. As soon you reach at the host country, and then there is some room you need before you start setting up. You need time to strike. You need time to reach to airports. Any international airport requires you 3 hours of advance time when you are checking in. uh, Flight get delayed. So all these aspects, when you are shipping your set, shipping companies get late. Uh, Containers takes times when they are going through immigrations and custom checks. So it's not that company invite you, oh, I can fly in 8 hours, I can reach to United States and I can do a show next day. Uh, Believe me, schedule is one of the most crucial part when you are planning traveling as long as like a month or 2 months of tour. And I give an enormous amount of consideration when it comes to schedule, because my company was traveling from remote areas from the West Rajasthan to Delhi. From Delhi, they will check into their hotels, and from there they will going to to the airport and then to the host country. Next is contract. You need an official contract in a legal language, which should mention show dates, technical setup dates, your payment, insurance issues, who are liable for what, damages, schedule of the payment, when the payment will come, and in case this show get cancelled, what you need as your terms and conditions, who will pay for the damages in case the show get cancels, and the conditions of canceling. So these are the important aspect when it comes to contract. And you want to again take either a e-copy of the contract with EduSign and kind of these legitimate online sign, or you get a physical copy. I would recommend, as in traveling company, always get a physical copy, because again, in immigrations especially, and visas, you never know. Next thing, you need to know about personnel of the host company. And when I'm saying personnel, that means who is the artistic director, technical director, uh, production manager, production director, stage manager, head of lighting, head of set, head of rigging, uh, stage manager. So these personnel, you want to know to whom you are dealing, to whom you are contacting, and what is their hierarchy. It's important as a person, as a technical director or as a stage manager even, to know about the hierarchy. For a thing like, how many exits you do have, you maybe don't want to contact to an artistic director uh, and want to contact a stage manager. What are your exit policies? So there are hierarchies inbuilt into in our stage setup, and it's important to divert your email uh, and your questions, and know from where you can get the best answer and the fastest answers. So this is important to know about personnel. I always ask for a one-point contact person when I'm traveling. And why I'm saying this, because rather than directing all my questions every time here and there to and fro, I want to deal with one person who can probably take all my questions and then divert those questions within the host company from where the answer can come, and then put me in touch with those persons. So this is what I take a route when it comes to, because then I know that all my emails are going to one email ID, and I can track those conversations. At times I'm traveling with, when I'm traveling, let's say for a month, when I'm performing for about 8 venues, I'm dealing with 8 separate venues. And that's where it's very important which venue I'm traveling, which festival I'm traveling, and who is the person when it comes to dealing with that particular venue. So that's why it's important to have one point, single point contact person. Next comes the technical issues. What you need in terms of the technical detail when it comes to the traveling production. You need details about the venue, where you are performing. What detail you need? You need their plans. That will give you a solid idea about length, width, seating capacities, exit, entries, green rooms, uh, and this is where this will also help you to mark your set on the plan. It will also give you what is the distance, dimensions, or area you do have to put your set. There were times when we were performing in really tiny uh, ballrooms where it was crucial for us to even match inch by inch to get the better sight line and to get the best quality of sound. So that's where it's important to get the plans. Sections, as we know about it, that they help you to, again, find out the sight lines, find out the height of your set and the venue, how high you can go if you are flying, where you can fly your stuff. When it comes to Manganiar selections or the kitchen, these were static set 20 feet height. In kitchen, it was 20 feet and 5-inch height set. So it's important for us to know what is our boundary line. Are we cutting in terms of sight line? Are we hiding something? And there were times when we ask venues to take their tormentor out, to take their upper border out, just to get the better visibility. That's where you need sections. Loading dock, you need it. It's important when you are traveling with huge set as huge as 4 ton or 5 ton, or maybe bigger than that. If your loading dock cannot take that weight at one go, what you will do? Uh, Again, the size of your loading dock. Can a 20-feet container ship go into your loading dock or cannot go? Or does your loading dock allow big semi to go directly in your loading dock, or it cannot go? I'll give you 2 examples. In Holland Festival, we were performing in, I think that was the National Theatre, Amsterdam. You can take the 20-feet semi with your truck uh, into their lift, and the truck can go 4 feet up, 4 stories up, and then it's the stage dock there. In Melbourne Art Festival or in Melbourne Art Center, your venue is 3 stories down underground, and the complete truck can go. Where in Rome, we were performing in this hilltop, I forget the name of the venue, but we have to dismantle complete set, and the complete set was basically carried on the shoulder of our crew. So this is where it's important to figure out time, labor, uh, cost when it comes to loading dock. Loading docks are that crucial when it comes to the touring productions. Fire safety are very important aspect. I think I cannot stress it as much as the name itself. Most of the country are fire regulated company. Country like Australia is highly regulated, that they will check every single piece of your set whether they are fire retardant or not. United States also, they check, you have to produce a fire safety certificate, and similarly in Europe and UK. But there may be countries who are might not that strict. So you want to consider these fire safety regulations and always check what kind of certification they need and who will provide that certification. Sometimes certifications involve cost. So that's what the fire safety. Uh, if you are traveling with a set which involves lots of costumes, lots of cloth pieces, would always check for fire safety. Entry and exit specifications. Who can enter from where? There are venues where everyone cannot enter from loading dock or stage door, or everyone cannot enter from lobby, or you need special passes. There are special permissions and even hours when it comes to entry and exit specifications of the venues as large as Melbourne Art Festival or Melbourne Art Center, I'm sorry. So, and there are centers like Kennedy Center or Lincoln Center where there are more than one venues or one site performance space within the one site. So there you need specifications when it comes to entry exit. Let's go to regulations. I'm sorry, I'm kind of bombarding because it's long and has to be finished on time. Are there working hours regulations when it comes to performing venues? There are companies there are countries who are bound by the union laws. There are working hours limitations in one go. There are countries who allow for 15 minutes break each after 2 hours of work. There are countries who are not that strict. And these will play a role when you are calculating time of your rigging and your technical schedules and your rehearsings and technical rehearsals. Special permissions. What kind of special permissions you need when it comes to a country or a venue? Do you need permissions for language? Do you need permissions for fire? Do you need permissions for water, using food, using smoke, using smell? So using any pyrotech. So these comes when it comes to using bright lights, using nudity. These are the permissions when I'm talking about the permissions or special permissions. Maximum weight. We know that there are stages who cannot take 4 ton or 5 ton or 2 ton, and there are stages which can take maybe 20 tons. So that depend on the stage to stage. So you want to check what is the maximum weight capacity of your stage. And don't calculate that on the base of your set only. Remember, there will be performers who will be performing. And especially like in dance shows or like big musicals, when performers are moving, there is a kinetic weight. You can go and Google that kinetic weight, but your weight kind of doubles up when you are in movement, when you are jumping, dancing. So these are the considerations you want to check when it comes to maximum weight. Power loads. There are countries which has 220 volt as a standard, 240 volt as a standard, and 110 in United States when it comes to. So you want to check those, what kind of power capacity and maximum power load you can take. That depends on what is the maximum power you will be consuming, including audio and the light. And the last is union regulations. As I said, there are countries which are very strict when it comes to union laws or union regulations. You want to check those because that will help you to calculate your time, setup time, and also working with heights, working with fire. In Australia, for instance, only a certified rigger who is certified to work on height can only rig a set on height. Similarly, in a couple of venues in United States. So don't take those as a granted that, oh, you can work on 20 feet without a harness or without a certification. There will be venues who may not allow you to do that. So these are in total in terms of from the host you need. There may be more, but I'm kind of just concentrating those. And the last in this one, I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping in. Safety regulations. What are the safety regulations when it comes to the venue? Uh, how strict those safety regulations? We were performing in Brisbane Centre, and Brisbane Centre does not allow a single metal equipment on your set without earthing. If you are using light on this one, if you are using any electrical appliances on that one, and we have to, due to some communication gap, we have to buy a $20,000 fast tune LED cables immediately to do a show there, just because of that one smallest sort of communication gap when it comes to regulations. So check those, every single regulation, weight regulations, safety regulations, fire safety regulations about from the venue. Okay, now company requirement. What you need when you are traveling as a company. As your company, first and foremost, you want to have a team. You have in your team, you will have artists, you will have technical team. So I group them in majorly two groups. In those, when you have technical team and you have artistic team, you need their detail. What kind of detail you need? You need their personal details, name, date of birth, place of residence, their visa details, if they have traveled in countries other than those, sometimes their family details, even the detail of their children. In 2013, we were performing for WOMED Festival Sweden, and we were applying for UK visa. They ask for the date of birth of your children and your parent, and date of place also. So you need those details as a company. These can be completely secure, that it can be with you and your artistic director, but just on the upfront that you might need those details. Sometimes you also need, if an artist have some ongoing court cases, especially when it comes to visas, because there are countries which request for those, which ask for those. And if there is some cases which has been quite in the air, you want to check those before. Second thing you need as a list. So the first list is your context list, which has all the contact detail in it, including email, phone number, their cell number, their addresses, sometimes their Twitter, Facebook, and social media accounts, if your artists are willing to do that, just for the sake of publicity and communications. You need rooming list. What are the number of rooms you are getting and how you want to fit those. You need food list. What artists need what kind of food. And then you need traveling list. Who is traveling with what kind of mode? When you are coming from your hometown to your airport. And then you need payment list also. What are the payment details of their accounts? And then you need visas when you are applying for countries. And I just want to stay back a little bit on visa. Every country has very different regulations for visas. There are countries which provides entertainer visas. There are countries which provides artist visas. There are countries which provides visitor visas. There are countries which provides tourist visa for same purpose of performing in a country. When it comes to visas, there are two very tricky points. One, what kind of company is yours? Is it a profit-making company or not profit-making company? And the same rule applies to the inviting company. Is it a profit-making company or non-profit-making company? Sometimes your host company apply for visas for you. Sometimes they provide you letters. Sometimes they give you invitation letter and the rest you have to figure it out. But visas are very important. And sometimes there are countries which has all these visas listed, but it depends. Are you getting money when you are performing or are you not getting money? Are you getting money as an artistic remuneration or as an artistic payment or as it a fees? Or are you getting money as a as a day allowance or traveling allowances. So these are all tricky points when it comes to to apply for visa. So check always with your company who is inviting you, and check all these details of payment detail, and then match those details with the visa requirement. When you are, most of the countries has their visa websites. Generally the VFS Global is now the international global agency, which kind of uh, is a one single window for applying for all kind of countries. But United States uh, gives visa options on their own website. So these are the details when it comes to the visa. Technical details from your own company, what you need to have from your own company when you are traveling. Paperwork. What kind of paperwork? Remember, from the host company we talk about plans and sections. You need those from your company also. You need plans of your set, you need sections of your set, you need a tech rider from your set, you need all these lists which I talk about just before. So these are the minimum paperwork. You need your prompt book if you are traveling with the musicals or with any kind of show, in fact. So you need your cue list, you need your cue sheets, you need your show files. So these are the paperwork. Always have a physical copy of your paperwork, and always have a safer copy of them in a cloud. You never know. I have many chances where my file was stuck in a bag which was lost, where my file was taken out in a custom. So always have your paperwork backup in a cloud service. I will always recommend that. And the paperwork which I just mentioned, have at least 3 copies of every single paperwork. Why? When you go to venue, there are times when your host say, oh, I forget my paperwork. It's always good to have 3 copies, one separate for you, one for your host, and one as a separate copy, always in your traveling bag. I used to have my one suitcase packed with all these paperwork when I was traveling. Logistics. When it comes to logistics, what I mean by that, are you traveling with your set? How heavy is your set? uh, how you are shipping your set, or are you flying your set? Who is doing custom clearance? What kind of container you need? 20 feet of a standard shipping container is the cheapest one when it comes to shipping. When we were traveling with Manganyar Seduction the very first time, it took us about 2 tours to figure out how we want to redesign our set so we can fit this set effectively in a 20 feet of shipping container. So these are the logistics. Who is your shipping company? Who is paying for insurance? What kind of insurance you are getting? There were times when our set was stuck in the sea, and we have to fly the another set of our set to the countries where we were performing. So logistics and the insurance part when it comes to technical. So those were your technical detail. Now let's come to the before travel, when we are just about to travel. What you need there? You need your travel dates, when you are flying, when you are reaching, when you are coming back, to give it to your artist and to have room to have some rest when you are reaching to a country where you are performing. You need your flight tickets when you are going before to airport. Always have a physical copy. Your phone might not work. Your phone might out of battery. Your network may not be working. A physical copy. Flight baggage policies. This is very tricky, I tell you. International flights have different baggage policies. You may get 35 kilogram of weight in an international flight, but let's say you are traveling within a country with a connecting flight. Within the state or within the country, flights may have reduced weight. So if you are traveling, let's say check-in baggage, which is 35 kilogram, the interstate flight company may have that weight limit as 25 kilogram. Always check with these flight baggage policies with all the flight in which you will be. in your traveling time. Checklist, what you need before going to airport, what you need within when you reach to venue, and what you need when you are coming out. I used to have my complete checklist, which I called pre-travel checklist, and I used to just check mark everything. Everyone reach airport, check everything. Everyone check their baggage, custom clearance check, or immigration clearance check. So all the checklist. Local travel, how you are traveling. Is the host company providing you travel? Are you taking your own tube, metro, taxis, buses? This all comes when you have a company who don't know English or the other country's language and is as big as 50 members. So you need to know how you are traveling locally. Foreign currency. Sometimes it's possible that there are places where your credit card does not work, where your credit card is not authorized. So it's always good to have some foreign currencies before you make your foreign travel. Generally, Forex services on airports are always costly than Forex services within the city. So that's a catch. In travel, what you need. Break journey. A thumb rule from my side, what my experience. If you are traveling less than 8 hours of your traveling journey, it's possible, it's good to go in one go. If you are traveling more than 8 hours, your total flight time is more than 8 hours, have a break journey. It's always good to stretch your legs. Yeah, so it's yes and no. Transit, flight change time. If you are changing flight, make sure that at least you do have 2 hours of flight change time in between, because there are times when you are maybe changing the airport. So check that before making your flight bookings. What is the transit time? Transit visa. Some countries require transit visa if your hold time is more than 12 hours, or if you are crossing over day. If you are reaching on 27th of February and the next day is 28th of the February, I mean not in February, in month, but if you are crossing over the day, there are countries which require transit visa. So check that. Airport change. There are airports where you have to take tram within. There are airports where you have to come out, take a bus, and then change. So always check how you are changing your airport. Next is your immigration. Always have your immigration paper. What those papers are: your visa, your passports, your itinerary, your invitations. These are the 4 at least paper work you need when it comes to immigrations. Group check-ins. If you have a company which is big, always check whether you can have a group check-in when it comes to immigration. Why? Because there are airports like London or Heathrow or New York airport, which has enormous amount of crowd coming and going back and forth. You want to make sure that every member of your company is checking out timely. So always check. When we were performing in London during the Swindon, for the Swindon, WOMED Swindon, it was the time of London Olympic. So the airport was completely jam-packed. There was about an hour and more waiting in immigration. We sent an email before to the airport agency, and they were kind enough to give us 2 separate lines specific for Manganiyar selection, and our immigration was done in 15 minutes. So this is the benefit of checking group check-ins. Baggage, oversized baggage, they always come on a different belt. If you are going with a oversize in terms of weight and oversize in terms of shape, both. So oversize, check with your oversized baggage. When you are checking them in, you might check them in on all counter, but when you are checking them out, they may come from different belt. In flights, it's a catch. Eating, it's very important. When you are traveling, flight foods, I have always doubt. I mean, flight companies may sue me, but I never believe on flight food. I would recommend, suggestion, eat less because you are sitting. You don't have time to digest your food. It's very likely that you get nausea, that you get, bad stomach when you are traveling long. Eat less. Drink lot. It's all right to go to use their washrooms back and forth because that will give you some stretch to your leg. Drinking also provides you, when I'm saying drinking, water. I will come back to the alcohol drinking. Water, because that supplies require amount of oxygen to your body also. Yeah? And that will help you to sleep. So that is when it comes to eating. Then is drinking. Just a scientific fact, alcohol reduces the amount of oxygen in your blood. Rest you calculate by yourself what it come when you have less oxygen in your blood. Okay, it does not help you to sleep, just in case if you are thinking that it help you. Sleeping. People think that they can sleep while they are listening their music, having their earpods or something in their ear. Any sound when it hits your brain, that activate your brain, just as a scientific phenomena. So if you want to sleep, have some sort of sound barrier, foams or earbuds in your ear. And then I use always a blinder to my eye just because it's protect the light hitting my eyes. Those are the two thumb rules I use when it comes to sleeping in flight, or try to sleep, I would say. And then I use a neck rest because that helps the neck muscles to kind of get some rest. So that is what my sleep suggestion in the flight. Okay, now we have had our flight and we reach in a host country, wonderful country like United States or Europe or India or China or Australia or Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, wherever you are. What you need, my friend, in hotel? Communication. The very first thing. Let's say I ended up in China. Everyone speak Chinese there. No one is speaking English. In my hotel, I'm talking. How you is going to establish a communication? You need someone who can translate. Second thing, you need local phone number. I always request host companies to provide me a local phone card or a SIM card or probably a phone, because I believe on the phone conversation rather than over the internet, because I don't know about the internet. Local maps, generally you get those on your hotel. If not, then check with the airport. You will find those lots of on airports. Tourist offices, they help you to find out restaurants in nearby areas. Local currency, as I mentioned it earlier, you need that just for the very first day, eating, buying, purchasing small things. Ask with your hotel, Wi-Fi, is it free? For how many hours? How secure it is? Security is one of the biggest concern when it comes to using free Wi-Fi's. Staying. Food and drinks. Where you gonna eat? What kind of drinks? What kind of food? Always be cautious with your first food and drink, because you are traveling in a different country, could be a different weather, could be different eating habits. So you want to check those. Restaurants, nearby restaurants, always check how secure they are in their payment and how friendly they are. Nightlife, safety of the nightlife, what kind of nightlife, where you can go if you want to explore a little bit of city. I always love to roam around in New York when I'm in New York in the night, because the city is something different. City and regulations. There are cities which does not allow drinking in the street at all. There are cities which are lenient. There are cities which are open till midnight, till 4 o'clock in the morning. There are cities which close at 8 o'clock. So check those regulations. And safety, always check safety. Don't assume that you are in a country which is quote unquote safe, because you never know. Now we are in venue. What we need in venue? We need checklist, we need personnel, we need to do, and we need to understand certain regulations when it comes to the venue. What checklist you need? You want to check, you have plans and sections with you, you have all the show files with you, your set has reach, your boards and consoles, lighting board, consoles, you want to check that those are there, whatever you required, the company. So these, you also want to check who are the personnels there, and I will just come to the personnel, but these are the basic checklist as soon you reach into a venue. When it comes to personnel, who is your light personnel, head of the light or the contact person for the light, for sound, rigging, stage manager, venue, and most importantly, your single point contact person. Make sure that this person at least comes the first when you are entering into the venue, because that may help you to get introduced to the rest of the company. What you need to do when you first entering, and remember, these are not, exceptional hardcore. You can have your own, you can design your own, and there may be more. It's just that my own experience and kind of I'm filtering through. It's always good to introduce your company. Second thing, you want to check all the gears and tools. You do have tools which you need to rig, to focus, to light your show. You want to check sound levels. There are venues which are huge, 3,000 capacity, 4,000 capacity, which are 100 feet down into the deep. And there are venues which may be just 50 feet. So you want to check their sound levels, how high you can go. And the control rooms. Where are your control rooms? I know there are designers or directors or sound engineers who always love to bring your sound console back into the auditorium just to get the better sound quality. There may not be a possibility of that kind of facility in all the venues. So you want to check that when it comes to the to-do. Second, the last one in this one is understand venue safety. Understand that from the venue manager or from your stage manager. Understand union rules. What are the break rules? What are the safety rules? Who can work when? What kind of break hours you need? Fire safety, as I mentioned earlier. And here you need to understand those. You may have those regulations back in your paper, but it's always good to have a verbal conversation. And you also want to understand power tools. Those are very crucial when it comes to safety. How they operate. Do you need a skilled person to operate those? Do you need someone, a specific person? And then loading docks and how you want to build. How are you going to build? Are you going to rig your light first? Are you going to rig your sound first? Are the set, sound and light, or the light, set and sound? So what will be your sequence of your rigging? So these are at the venue. So yeah, I'm firing through. I think I do have about 5 more minutes and I'll try to assemble those. Laura, please stop me whenever you want.
Take your time, Dinesh. You're fine.
Thank you. When it comes to performance, you want to check your pre-show checklist. When it comes to pre-show checklist, your foyer announcement, pre-show announcement, if there is something, if there are pre-show introductions or something of that nature, if there is a fire curtain before pre-show, what are your late coming policies, if those any, what are your first row policies or your last row policies, do you have restricted seat policies? So all these are your pre-show checklist. Do you want your artists all into the wings, into the green rooms? Who are your ASMs? So these comes when it comes to pre-show checklist. What about your rigging? Your flyman is ready or the flyman come in between? So These I mean by pre-show checklist. House ushers positions and policies. Some venues allow ushers to come inside, some they want outside, some they provide them seats, you know, some they allow them to use their torches, some they may not. So these are the policies when it comes to house ushers. House open times. When you are opening, 15 minutes before, 30 minutes before, an hour before. In Manganiyar selections and the kitchen and the classroom, all our shows, especially Manganiyar selection and the kitchen, we have artists, all our artists on the set before we open our house. And these are 1 hour show. So we don't want to hold our artists there on the set for a longer period. They might need to use the washrooms. So we want to make sure that we do have enough time for audience to come in, but we also don't want to prolong that. This is what I give you one example of when it comes to house open time. Pre-show announcement, I mentioned that earlier. Late entry policies, as I mentioned, some houses don't allow that, some allow 5 minutes into the show. A thumb rule is that any relaxed moment in your show, or any moment when one incident or one act or one thought is changing into the next thought, that change period, that gap period is always good to get your audience in, latecomers in, because that does not hamper much the thought of the audience and the performers. Performance time, how much the performance time of your show is. You want to probably announce that, or maybe audience know that earlier. Post-show talks, if there are any, you want to check that before. And who can stay? What kind of arrangement you need? Do you need to hide your set? Do you need to take your set out? Or do you need to put a chair? Or are these going to be standalone? Or is the presenters are talking only by standing? Post-show parties. Are your host is inviting you? Is the host is providing one free drink, all free drink, or no free drink? So those are the post-show parties when it comes to, and we do have all those incidents, and we've been caught into that kind of situation where our artists thought that, oh, we can drink as much as they can, and then the bill came with thousands of dollars of bill we have to pay to the bar. So these are the post-show parties when it comes to. Okay, my friend, let's go back to strike. Come to strike. What you need, how you want to begin, what is the order, who is your strike crew. It's always good to have the same crew who help you to build your set, because by this time they know how this set function, how these light functions. If you don't have that luxury, you can have anyone and you can train them or you can introduce them. But I always requested for the same crew, because that speed up the time almost double. What is the process? What coming down first? Light coming down first, or set coming down first, or the sound coming down first? You want to take that decision in order to their safety. What is safest to take first out as a thumb rule? I always begin simultaneous packing of my set, because that give two options. One, it pack my set fast. It also take clutter out from the stage. So it's more safer. It's safer. And that's why I always begin my simultaneous packing. Order end of a strike, as I mentioned earlier, how you want to, what you want to do first. And then loading dock. Where is your loading dock? Loading truck. How soon your truck can enter. There are cities which has regulations when a big truck can enter. Can this truck wait? Does the waiting hours also calculate in amount, in a cost? So you want to consider all those. Repair, wear and tear. Consider doing that if you are traveling simultaneously. You might not have that time when you are traveling and when you are rigging your set again for the next show. Your set may get more damage during the way if you are not repairing it. I always make sure that my set is in good shape when I'm packing that for the next venue. And packing securely. Always make sure that the most delicate part of the set is most secure, and generally at the back, the most back of your packing list. Because generally when truck brakes, as a Newton law, the moving things proceed to move further, your set bumps to the front. So if you have delicate things at the front, your heavy things may smash that. That's the thumb rule when it comes to safety for me, packing safely. Don't forget what? Things to remember. Make sure all the audience are out before you begin, or you do have your fire curtain. Yeah. City big truck restrictions, if there are any. If your truck can only come 12 o'clock midnight and you have asked your crew to come at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you finish your, strike your set in 4 hours, you don't want that crew to come back, and you also don't want to hold that for that much. Additional venue gift, etc. That's also tricky things. If you are traveling multi-countries, everything goes through customs and immigrations. So always want to make sure that anything which you are taking is considered quote unquote as gift, or don't take, or the customs allow that, immigration allow that. Thank you, always thank you your crew for helping them. I always take a photograph of the crew at the end of all strikes. So I think I do have photograph about 32 different venues. Post-production, this is our last slide. Hotel checkout times, check that. When you can check out, what is the time? How much time it take you to check out? How much time it take you to from hotel to airport? And always make addition of 3 hours, because that time you need in your hotel. Airport check-in and boarding time. Repeat the same process when you were doing from your in-country, from your home country. Duty free, always check price with your home country. Generally, there are many times you will find the same product cheaper at your home country duty free. Second thing, there are countries which may not allow duty free going through their immigrations if you are having a break journey. So check with duty free custom clearance before you are buying lots of stuff. And I had that many times when I'm traveling within even Europe. There are countries which don't allow duty free items of the other country. Currency exchange, as I mentioned earlier, airports are always with bigger margins. Payment to artist, you know your company rules. I would recommend do that on time. Your artist will feel happy and will appreciate that. Transparency in payments, it's always good to have that. When and how. You don't want your artist to call back again, back and forth, oh, where is my payment? How soon I can get? We follow that rule. And that's why we had, fortune, I would say, to intact our company for 13 years. Same technical persons working with us for 13 years. Same. And the same artist. Thank your artist and your technical team, always. Take update on your set transportation. If that getting shipped, when that get custom clearance, when that get board onto the ship, when that coming to your home country and your home city and your own warehouse. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Dinesh. We do have some questions for you if you're ready for that.
Go ahead, please.
All right. The first question is asking, when you traveled the world with these large shows, what was an unusual and unexpected problem, and how did you end up resolving it?
Do you want to stop my presentation and come back or do you want to keep this one, the last slide?
That's fine if you want to leave it up.
Can you repeat the question, please, Laura?
Sure. When you traveled the world with these large shows, what was an unusual and unexpected problem, and how did you end up resolving it?
There are two specific problems. One is the immigration problem. And because I was traveling with a show which has 40 Khan Muslims in it. And unfortunately, our world is not as great as we think. So there are times when your immigrations are very strict and dig down many things before letting you go. And that's why I stress on those visa regulations and types. Because, and it's also on the part of immigration, it's legitimate and it's legal that they do that digging, because there are n number of trafficking happening these days. So make sure that I always make sure that all my artists have their valid passport, have their valid visa, have all the paperwork with them, And I have artists who have same name, even their fathers have same name, even they come from same village. Now, any immigration may get confused that, what is happening there. So I always make sure that when I'm bringing artists, I provide enough document that these are legitimate legal entries. That is the one thing I confronted mostly, and then I solve that. And that's why I stressed on that list of artist contact list. Second thing about venue regulations. So you remember I mentioned about performing in Brisbane for that Brisbane Center. Our set it's a metal set, and the light is on the set. And our instrument were not earth, but our complete set was earth when it comes to electricity. And with an electrical phenomena, if there is a common structure, you can earth that common structure. That means it's taking power, it's earthing the complete structure. But the regulation of the venue asks for every single electrical instrument to be earth. So that is the second thing. Same with power load. We were performing for WOMED Adelaide in Australia. We rig our set on their stage, and after rigging the set, the technical director came and he asked that, oh, you did not use those plywoods were lying on your side. I said, for what purpose? They said this was the second layer of the safety. So we did not. And then he insisted, almost make it necessary to use those. Now, bringing our set down take about 8 hours, and next day we have to perform. How to do that? So fortunately, they have this heavy forklift, 2 heavy forklift, and me and my technical personnel, we gave it a thought how we can lift the complete structure by 1 inch. So we come up with a calculation and we lift our complete set, and we inserted the plywood underneath it. So the venue technical detail is second thing. Third thing is about the setup time and traveling time. When you are doing rap shows one after another venue, traveling take time. Also, you need rest to have your productivity back. Each after of 8 hours of travel, you need at least 3 hours of rest. Your body needs rest to rejuvenate. So these are the 3 things I would say I consider the most. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, thank you. We do have a few more. Have you found some locations in the world that expect or require tips or payoffs to achieve certain production successes?
I did not.
Okay.
Yeah, I in my whole life, wherever I performed for about 200 shows, all in the countries where I mentioned. I had exceptional crew member. At times they may be just common man coming from a street, but I had never a chance where I have to pay some tip to crew member or even simple labor. No.
Okay. Next question is asking, checklists are essential for many things. Do you use a standard format or an app for creating checklists?
I don't do that, but I'm working on making one. So next time when I'll come with Herman, I'll come up with that app. I'm working. Thank you for reminding.
Perfect.
Okay.
So we have another question. How many people were typically in your traveling party on these shows, and how many technical staff versus artists?
Uh, the largest company was Manganiar Seduction with 52 members, 38 artists, one sound engineer, one head carpenter, one assistant carpenter, one second assistant carpenter, two electrical persons, me as tech director, our artistic director, our artist manager, and our tour manager.
Okay, perfect. It looks like that was the last question that came in. Dinesh's contact information is up on the screen. If you have additional questions, it sounds like he's open to having you reach out to him directly, and he'll assist you with that. Dinesh, thank you so much for the presentation. Really appreciate your time, and this was your first presentation with us, so welcome to the learning sessions, and thank you for being a part of it. And for all of our attendees, thank you for joining us once again. We do have upcoming sessions that you can find out on the full calendar on pro.harman.com, and we hope to see you again in the future. Thanks, Dinesh. Have a good day.
Thank you, Laura. I have last question in my screen, and I'll answer that, and then we'll go.
Sure.
How many trucks were required for your show to travel? One truck. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Brad. Thank you,
Thank
Mallory.
you. Have a great day.
You too.